I was skeptical about this one. I mean, I've had my fair share of bookshelf speakers before, but none of them really blew me away. That was until I stumbled upon the KEF Q350s, and let me tell you, they completely flipped my expectations on their head. Link is in the description if you want to check the latest price on Amazon. I remember the first time I set them up and started playing some music, it was like I was transported to a different room. The sound was so clear, so precise, it was like having a mini home theater system right in my living room. I've never heard anything quite like it from a set of bookshelf speakers before. Now, I'm not saying they're perfect, but they're definitely up there. One of the first things I noticed about the KEF Q350s was how effortlessly they handled bass notes. It's not that often you find a pair of bookshelves that can really bring the low end, but these guys absolutely killed it. Whether I was listening to electronic music or just some good old rock and roll, the bass response was consistent and never sounded muddy or overpowered. This is especially great for a smaller room where space and volume limitations can really get in the way of a good listening experience. Another thing I loved about the KEF Q350s was how versatile they are. Whether you're a casual music listener or an audiophile, these speakers will easily adapt to your needs. They're great for both listening to music and watching movies, they just have this ability to make you feel like you're right in the action. I've also been pretty impressed with how well they integrate with my existing home theater setup. I was a bit worried they might sound out of place, but that wasn't the case, they actually complemented my main speakers perfectly. One of the standout design features of the KEF Q350s is the sleek, modern look. The simple, clean aesthetic will really mesh with any room, whether it's a modern minimalist space or a cozy traditional living room. I was a bit worried about the magnetic grills, but KEF provides them separately, so you're free to customize the look to your liking. That said, I do think they look pretty sharp with the grills on, but hey, being able to choose is always a good thing. Of course, no product's perfect, and the KEF Q350s have their own set of quirks. Firstly, I was a bit taken aback by the price at first. At over $700 for a pair, they're certainly an investment. However, if you're even remotely serious about music or home theater, I think these speakers are well worth the spend. Another thing I noticed was that sometimes the speaker's front port would get a bit obstructed by the placement of my TV or other room furniture, not a huge deal, but something to consider if you're planning on using them in a tight space. In terms of pros and cons, I'd say these speakers really excel in terms of their sound and versatility. They're ridiculously easy to set up, and the sound quality is just top-notch. However, if you're on a super tight budget, these might be a bit out of your price range. Additionally, if you do plan on placing them in a tight space, you might want to take some extra time to ensure the speaker's port is clear. But overall, I'm really impressed with the Q350s, and I definitely recommend checking them out. If you're looking for a new pair of bookshelf speakers to elevate your home listening experience, I'd say the KEF Q350s are definitely worth considering. Link is in the description below, and I wish you happy listening.